So much. This is an amazing story. I want to bring in Steve Ellis. He's Vice President of Taxpayers for Common Sense, as well as Mike Ozanian. He is Executive Editor of Forbes Media. Todd Schoenberger still with us in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Steve, let me kick this off with you. Explain why the NFL is a tax-exempt organization. What are we talking about? What? How much money are they saving, a year because of this tax exemption?
Well, the NFL claims to be a trade association, so like you have a trade association for doctors, you have a trade association for pork producers, you pretty much have one for anything, and these are tax-exempt organizations that are trying to promote a general industry. But in this case, you have one league, the NFL, and they've had this status basically their entire existence. And so they're getting about $327 million in fees and in penalties and other things paid by the teams that they are actually not paying any taxes on. So we're losing millions of dollars in tax revenue.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. What do you think, Todd?
Well, look, they pay taxes though on the merchandise sales,
right,
which is 20% of their total revenue bucket, yeah, and they also pay on the obviously the TV, the
anything
lucrative
that
contract
moves
that they
through
have.
The owners pays taxes.
Yeah, they all pay taxes. Here's the thing, though: if you revoke this status right now, you're looking at them saving $250 million per year that they're not paying to the federal government. Here's the thing, though: guess what? If you're going to throw that expense on the owners, guess who's going to have to pay? You and me. The fans are going to have to pay. And guess what? That's less cash that's out there for the guy that can't sell the peanuts and the shirts and the parking and everything else. And you add in all of that, that's where the trickle-down effect is going to damage.
Maybe, but Mike, $250 million savings a year because the NFL is tax exempt. Is that right?
It's a fictitious number. If it was a corporation, a taxable corporation, Maria, it'd be able to have corporate tax exemptions that it'd be able to use. And if you actually look at the nonprofit tax forms that it files, in many years it's losing money. The basic reason why the NFL operates where the league offices are nonprofit are to make certain things easier, such as lending facilities to the team owners.
So then you agree it should have these tax breaks then?
You're going to either get a tax break operating as a nonprofit, or you're going to get a similar tax level if it was a for-profit, but they were using corporate tax exemptions or corporate tax write-offs. You're going to get to the same number anyway.
Mike's right on this one, because if you look at the federal, what was filed back in 2012, the NFL had $333 million in expenses. If you've removed the nonprofit status and they start working as a for-profit entity, that $333 million, that's an exempt deduction. That's a big, big deal. And can you imagine what the outcry is going to be? Because now you have the NFL that has all these expenses, and what are we talking about here? The fines and everything else.
Well, Steve, let me look at just 2012, okay? Steve, revenues for 2012 were estimated at $9.5 billion. That year, Commissioner Goodell had compensation of more than $44 million. These are high numbers in terms of comp for an organization that's actually saying that they are a trade group and has this tax exemption.
It's preposterous. And let's be clear. Major League Baseball gave up this status years ago. The NBA has never actually been operated under this status, but the NHL is, and it just doesn't make sense. And so certainly we need to deal with any of the tax distortions even beyond this. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Obviously you could look at things like tax-exempt bond financing for building new stadiums for football teams, but I think that this is something that just doesn't make sense on the very face of it.
The economic impact there, Maria, I mean to interrupt you, but the economic impact with these teams, it goes much further than just the team itself. What this means to the cities, the civic pride that's there, everything. The value is much, much greater. I'm telling you, if you throw them, take away this nonprofit status, it will have a hit.
Well, what about, this new controversy? The new controversy around Roger Goodell. You think that this is going to be the new topic du jour to actually investigate and scrutinize the tax-exempt status, given this new controversy around its commissioner?
Certainly it's going to be something that people are going to talk about. It's quite frankly, I think to most people it's offensive to think that this entity and somebody who's getting paid $42 million is operating as tax exempt.
All right, we'll leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you. Steve, Mike, Todd, good to have you on the program today.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll see you soon. We appreciate your time today.